Radio Free Skaro.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Radio Free Skaro, episode number 736. I am Stephen in Edmonton.
Warren in Vancouver.
And Chris in Edmonton.
This is about as normal RFS episode as I thought we'd ever have in this time that we live in right now. It's fluid links and a bunch of news. Like, you could just plop this in. This is evergreen, basically. This is evergreen content apart from
including the news.
Apart from everything else that's going on in the world right now. We hope you're safe. We hope you're indoors. It's a weird, frustrating thing to think that by doing nothing, you're doing everything. But listen to Bierach, it's right. Do nothing. Because, we don't leave the house very much anymore. And when I do, it's to go get groceries and that's it. Like, I know some people elsewhere are going, hey, it's nice out, let's go for a walk, but stay away from people. Well, it's just perpetual winter here in Edmonton, snowing again today. So outside is not a thing I even want to be near right now. We
take the dog out and grocery runs once a week. That's basically it. Shut-in time.
Yeah, I mean, it's we joke. It's bad. It's probably going to get a bit worse before it gets better. We're in this for the long haul. It's a hell of a time. It's a hell of a time, folks, to be a part of this. The fact that I'm just trying to think. Yes, there was the Spanish flu, as they call it, influenza back in 1918. Was pretty bad too, but I don't, the world wasn't as interconnected as it is now. So I feel like this is the first time that humanity has ever sort of gone through a massive worldwide event together at the same time. The weird thing is that it's like the Twitter seems nice now. No one seems to be yelling at anyone else on Twitter.
Give it time.
A little bit, yeah. Maybe people start lashing out a little bit, but it just feels like, okay, well, this is no one's really arguing about that much because everything feels slightly inconsequential. So that would be nice to carry on after all this madness is over, whenever that is. It's a weird and slightly terrifying thing as cases of COVID-19 go up elsewhere in the world and in the U.S. and everywhere else. So anyway, we're hoping you stay safe.
I have to say, though, our latest report here is that because of social isolation, it is flat, and they have data that says it is having the number of new cases. So it works, is what I'm trying to say.
It is work, yeah, and
Please
BC.
Do it.
Yeah, BC seems to be, but I mean,
Well, it works elsewhere, too. It's just that I have at hand.
Yeah. It's I'm having a weird, I don't know if because I'm 45 and I sort of have a different outlook on the world than when I was 30 or something. I could only see past my own short vision of the future. I mean, it took me a while to a week and a bit to sort of wrap my head around what was going on, because I'm a planner, as you two gentlemen know. I like to plan.
I hadn't noticed,
be it this podcast, be it things, and all of a sudden, you can't plan anything, nothing. Everything is just gray in the near future. When the NHL said, okay, well, we're going to postpone the season for 2 weeks, and the NBA said the same thing. Then, is it 2 weeks? It's probably longer. Don't just say 2 weeks just to give us. It's going to be longer. There's just nothing to sort of think of. And oddly enough, it's a very science fiction idea to have the entire world sort of stop like this. And it's also another sort of science fiction idea. This is my way of tying this conversation into Doctor Who, is that, when you ever, or maybe even Star Trek, whenever you see Gene Roddenberry's vision of the future, we're like, oh, we don't have money anymore. We're all just nice to each other and everything's just happy go lucky and everything. And I always thought, well, that's ridiculous, because how can you sort of change society for the better without, it's not a gradual thing that you can sort of do something like that. You'd have to completely stop society to do something entirely different to it. Well, here we go. Society has now stopped. All of a sudden, like, companies are going, oh, we'll just overlook your rent for like 3 months, or we'll do this. And like all of a sudden, universal basic income is a thing that is being like thrown around by Mitt Romney of all people.
Well, we'll see. We'll see.
I know.
If there's anything I have in faith in, it's capitalist class screwing us all again. Somehow
This is what I'm wondering. Like, once this is over, whenever this is over and whatever this is, like, will we just sort of like, okay, we'll go back to paying through the nose for all these other services and everything else, well, we'll just get like screwed over? Or like, is this like, we've seen now what actual society can do for everyone, because the virus does not discriminate. The Prince of Wales, for crying out loud, is suffering from it. Boris Johnson is suffering from it. I don't think that the people who might qualify as the have-nots can sort of look at the people who are the haves in the eye again and say, you are not better than me. Why are you hoarding all the wealth? And to be fair, all the billionaires in the world are still hoarding all the wealth. I haven't exactly seen Jeff Bezos come out with a massive like donation for PPE for healthcare workers on the front line. Like, nothing has happened regarding that. So. But it is early days in this instance.
Here's my rather cynical. I'm going to put on another cynical hat on top of my usual cynical hat. Here's what'll happen. Here's what the big takeaway will be. Why are we paying for offices when these people just work from home anyway? Yeah, that's what's going to happen. Yeah,
we're like, it's funny how a lot of people are discovering Zoom, which we switched over from Skype a few months ago now, and. Like, so many people, like, the NHL is like putting out like videos of like all the various all-star captains talking to each other on Zoom, and everyone's like, oh wow, we're talking to each other on the internet and everything. It feels like this
was it 1998.
Yeah, exactly.
When ICQ boys.
Yeah, like, I married Erica, and then we had to spend a year apart still because we lived in different countries and everything, and so it for us, for a small sector of the population, little has changed. I know that you, Chris, you like to spend your time at home and talk to people on the internet. So like, not a lot.
Well, the first part, yeah. Second part, sometimes.
Yeah.
It depends on which part of the internet.
Yeah. But I mean, things are obviously different. I mean, the entertainment industry has adjusted. I mean, the smaller boutique films from some studios are basically being put on for like rental for like $20 basically right now. Like, you can actually get them in your home. Even if they had sort of just started their theater run when all this sort of nonsense happened. TV will obviously change. I know Winona Earp was in the midst of shooting their 4th season in Calgary. They've had to postpone. A lot of TV has sort of had to postpone production. A lot of movies have sort of pushed their release dates back to whenever, July, September next year.
Some talk show people are doing stuff from home, and my first thought was, is this it? Did the YouTubers win? This is not cool.
Yeah, like, why are you hoarding in on our market here?
Because the YouTuber people are already doing this, so it's like, is this what the new normal is going to be? A bunch of YouTube stuff? I hope not.
Yeah, who knows? I mean, and tying it back to like stuff that we do, like conventions and stuff. For instance, Calgary Expo is postponed to the summer of 2020. I think they're just sort of kicking it down the field a little bit and seeing where things are in summer of 2020. Calgary Expo was supposed to happen last weekend of April. Christopher Eccleston was supposed to come down for it. Not happening anymore. The Big Finish Day, which was I think going to happen in June, that's sort of been delayed. Record Store Day, which is going to be June in May, has been postponed till June 20th. All sorts of things.
But there are interesting opportunities here because like the Nebulas are going virtual. They're going to still do them, but they're virtual. And the Nebulas, I've always been interested in going to them, but it's flying down to LA and spending a bunch of money on a hotel and flight and all the rest of it, and the convention itself. Which I do already once a year with Gallifrey anyway, so I was like, well, do I really have to? But now it's $150 for the access to the entire thing and participating in panels and workshops all online. Maybe I'll spend the money on that. Why the hell not? I might give it a shot this year.
Yeah, the Hugos are doing the same thing. Worldcon in New Zealand is doing the exact same thing. Yeah.
As we sit and record this right now on a Saturday morning, there's that Phantom virtual convention.
Yeah.
That's going on in Britain of sorts. I was watching a bit of that before we started recording, and there was an archive interview with Christopher Benjamin and Trevor
Baxter,
who did Lightfoot and Jago.
Yep.
Or Jago and Lightfoot, rather. So, I mean, that's going on as well. Which,
and prior to that was a live interview with Mark Strickson. And I loved seeing that Colin Baker was tweeting and saying, oh, it's nice. I was watching it. I was nice to see Mark Strickson. So, like, even doctors are watching this
sweet
this live thing as we record this on a Saturday. It's happening. I think there's a Bonnie Langford interview coming up here very shortly. So that's a cool idea. And it's fascinating just, like how quickly everything is sort of like switched. That's kind of what is shocking to me. Is like, oh, okay, we'll just do an online convention. There have been several live watch-alongs for it started with Emily Cook from Doctor Who magazine spearheaded it, and a whole bunch of people watched Day of the Doctor on the 21st, Saturday the 21st. And then it even got Stephen Moffat back on Twitter, back to my comment about how Twitter is much different right now because everyone's in the same boat. And then Russell T Davies thought, well, I'm going to do it too. And so he joined Twitter just for the 15th anniversary of the original broadcast of Rose, and they did a tweet along of that. And now there's going to be one for Vincent and the Doctor with like Richard Curtis and Karen Gillan and Tony Curran on the 30th.
Is Tony Curran doing it? I saw that Gillen was announced as also. Richard Curtis's wife is doing it too.
I didn't. Is that Emma? Oh, I can't remember her name now.
Emma Freud.
Emma Freud, yeah, of course.
As in related to Sigmund Freud.
Yeah, exactly, yes. Maybe we should call her Edmund Freud, related to Sigmund Freud, as opposed to Richard Curtis's wife.
One thing, I off the top of my head, I don't know what, if any, involvement she had with the episode, or if she's just doing it because, Richard Curtis.
Well, and she's like a prominent psychologist and psychiatrist, I believe, as well as what the hook,
which would make sense. And
yes.
Apparently, the 30th is also Van Gogh's birthday.
It is,
which is why they're doing it that day. And I didn't know about this on the day. I didn't hear about it until just this morning. But apparently, in the tweet along for Rose, at the part of the episode where in the original broadcast Graham Norton's voice bled into the Doctor Who broadcast, RTD retweeted something from Graham Norton just to put it in at that point in time.
That's hilarious. My Twitter was like I tweeted about this. It was like Twitch. It was like Doctor Who on Twitch. Like everything was just going mile a minute. I could barely keep up with that, so I didn't really participate. But it was fun seeing all the love, and basically everyone sort of like trying to get a reaction out of Russell T Davies. What I loved about it, I think Stephen Moffat has officially once again left. It was only intended to be temporary, and I think RTD was doing the same thing. But a day after, he's still like saying hello to people and things. So
he stuck around at least for a little bit, if not still.
Yeah. Yeah, I tweeted out, it's basically I'm just here for the party. Then I'm going to leave the bar, and then it takes him an hour and a half to leave the bar because he's saying hello to everyone he knows and stuff. And think, well,
he showed pictures of all his Eagle Moss figures, and I tweeted back, "Dolly respect."
Yeah. The Doctor Who Collector series and all the other stuff. I mean, he's got a ton. RTD.
Yeah, he does have a ton.
Yeah,
the collection of Daleks alone is superbly impressive.
Also, just on the topic of Big Finish, some of their studio stuff, their live studios, their in-studio recordings have sort of been postponed. They're only focusing on digital releases now because physical releases will be a little more difficult now. The recording with Tom Baker over Zoom as well the other day. He tweeted a screen cap of Tom Baker looking suitably Google-eyed, looking at the screen as they were recording some sessions with him because they set him up basically. It's not the first time that Tom has just recorded in his home because when you're Tom Baker, you can do that. So the world has changed. One of the great things was Jodie Whittaker did a little thing in character as the Doctor, sort of hiding in a closet and just sort of telling everyone to be safe and stay isolated and stay safe and wash your hands and all that. But, the usual spiel, so to speak, but spoken as the Doctor. And Ray Holman, the costume designer for Doctor Who, followed that up by saying, yeah, Jodie has like a version of her costume that she keeps at home just in case like there's a need for like a last minute appearance somewhere, be it a hospital or somewhere else. It's so she doesn't have to like go through the BBC to get it. She has her own costume at home. And so she wore that for the video that has been retweeted like 30,000 times.
When you said she had a costume for emergencies, I immediately thought of the Batman signal from the old show. With back in and forth.
It's that. So there's some lovely stuff happening in this crazy weird time, and a lot of people have time with their hands out, just staying home. Be it Doctor Who showrunners, be it people like you and I. Staying home to stay safe to stop the spread. So,
except for one thing that got delayed for us staying at home that we didn't appreciate was the season 26 Blu-ray.
Yeah,
make its way to our doorsteps.
I love it. I love it when you click open the Amazon link and it's like, okay, well here, it's going to show up. It's going to show up tomorrow by 8 p.m. They all right, just sit there. I'll just watch the little line go down the screen and eventually go to shipping and out for delivery, and then. I thought, well, it's today, and it hasn't shipped yet. You still think it's going to be here at 8, and then all of a sudden, no, it's not going to get here. We'll let you know.
Didn't happen.
Yeah, it's going to be March, or May rather now. Isn't that what it's going to be?
Yeah. I sent you a screenshot of a Amazon customer support chat that I started when they said something like May 7th. I don't know if that's
sounds like a gripper.
I don't know if that's when they get it or when we get it or whatever, but it's like a 6-week delay according to them.
Yeah. I get email notifications whenever the official Doctor Who YouTube page, which I've subscribed to because I was always reminded to, every time they post a new video. And like I swear they're going to post like all the clips from season 26 on their YouTube channel by the time that we actually get the Blu-ray. Like I don't need to watch any of the episodes because I can just sort of compile them all from YouTube clips. But
because you can't do that from memory.
No, exactly.
Or your DVD collection
or my
of all
DVD.
The stuff that already sits on your shelf.
Yeah, exactly. Something that's coming down the pipe for us, though, is many moons ago, we had a Patreon goal of getting $150 per episode. And our goal initially was the War Games commentary done in all in one sitting. But so much time had passed since we set that goal to when we hit it, that Who Against Guns came in and did a commentary for War Games themselves, which all three of us participated in amongst a whole other bunch of people, including Stephen Moffat and Philip Hinchcliffe. So we thought, well, we can't do that. So we said it again, except we added 2 episodes and made it Frontier in Space and Planet of the Daleks. Well, we finally recorded that last weekend. It'll be coming out
Instead of doing the Day of the Doctor tweet along.
Instead of watching Day of the Doctor. And it will be coming out on the main feed sometime in late April, early May. But on our Patreon feed, it'll start coming out this week, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday will be Frontier in Space. And then next week, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday will be Planet of the Daleks. We did it all in one sitting, but we had guests. We had special guests. We had guests in the name of Kyle Anderson, who, of course, is from Memory Cheats and 5 Years Rapid. And we had Liz Miles, of course, from Verity, and a Big Finish writer. We had Toby Haydoke making his long-awaited return to the podcast. And then Paul Cornell also joined us for 2 episodes. So 2 episodes each for those, and then the 3 of us bookend it. Very tired by the end of the day after 8 hours of commentating, but
yeah.
So that'll be coming in the Patreon supporters feed this week, and then on the main feed in about a month's time. So that's how we spent a Saturday staying at home, record a big giant long podcast. So
and emerged bleary-eyed from our individual recording studios.
Yeah, I know. I didn't feel like doing anything after that. Let me tell you. I think I just played video games and stuff. But what else has happened? We
have new Doctor Who content. Technically,
there was some
lots of it too.
Because of these little live
things.
Live thing. I mean, Chris Chibnall wrote a new short story, basically kind of like if Jodie Whittaker's Doctor was the whale falling to Earth in Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
Yeah.
What was going through her mind when she was falling from the TARDIS into the train at the beginning of The Woman Who Fell to Earth. The BBC put that out. There was a special little video with Dan Starkey. Voicing Strax again as an intro to the Day of the Doctor rewatch. Russell T Davies.
The stuffed animal Strax was quite cute in there as well.
I enjoyed that.
I found it funny how people were like, well, is this it? And Stephen Moffat was like, we're all stuck at home, man. Like, what do you expect?
Exactly. Yeah, it's got to be lush production value. But it was written by Stephen Moffat. It was right there. And Russell T Davies had when he did his tweet along, he wrote a short prequel to Rose about the Time War, which it was originally written back in 2013, and then Moffat had a look at that. It's kind of treading a little bit of what we're doing for the 50th anniversary. Maybe you can publish that. So that went out. But he also wrote a sequel, Revenge of the Nestine, which Nestine. Which
oh my God,
which
I know. Metabolus.
Which Jacob Dedman
Nestebulous 3.
So they post, so it's weird. All of a sudden there's this new font of content. But what I loved is that both RTD and Moffat were like, in watching their stories again, they just like, oh, that was just the best time. That was just the absolute best time. All the horrors of trying to make Doctor Who is just sort of like you forget that after you leave it, and you just remember the good times. So it was nice that
there was a thing that was tweeted out, I think by RTD. I don't know if you saw it. I think you retweeted it from the RFS account, Stephen, but I can't recall. But anyway, there's like a little press conference sort of thing with RTD and Julie Gardner and Ed Thomas, where they're showing off like concept art for the new series back from 2003-4.
2004 is a concept thing. Yeah, Lee Binding posted pictures of that. Where they're basically trying to sell the BBC creative department and what it was going to be. Like, they all just look so fresh-faced, like, oh, this is what we're trying to do. It's called Doctor Who. You probably remember it. Yeah, interesting times. So it was a weird, fun week, I suppose. Good on them for doing them. If I'm honest, 3 watch-alongs in like 9 days is maybe a little bit much. They're going to spread them out a little bit, but hey, kudos.
What else are you going to do?
What are you complaining about here?
What else are you going to do?
I know. But I just but hey, I mean, the fact that they're getting these people. I mean, kudos to Emily Cook, who's done amazing work in wrangling all this.
Which Stephen Moffat, or was it RTD? I think it was RTD hat tipped, but probably they both did. He made a point of saying, hey, this wouldn't have happened without her.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she's done a great job. So she does good work on Doctor Who magazine too. So it's kind of neat to see Doctor Who have this weird burst of creativity. I almost felt kind of bad, like, while we're celebrating like previous, like when's Chibnall going to have his due? Is there going to be like a watch along to, I don't know, Woman Who Fell to Earth or something? Or I don't know.
Nope, Power of 3.
Power of 3, just
because why not?
Power of 3 ain't great, but it's not as bad as everybody makes it up to be.
Not his current Doctor Who, but his past Doctor Who.
Yeah, no, they're going to go back and do 42.
Yeah. 42. Why not? What's the stuff? Listen, we're here for the long haul, folks. Just not to break it to you, but we're not like, so the physical distancing thing isn't going to like just end on Tuesday and we'll be back outside. Like this 2020 will be the year we spent inside, basically, is what the
we're here for a long time, not a good time.
Pretty much.
As the song doesn't go.
Yeah. What else is happening? There's a whole bunch of
Pat Troughton
stuff. Oh yeah, Patrick Troughton. I always feel uncomfortable saying like happy 100th birthday to Patrick Troughton to someone who died in 1987. But the 100th anniversary of his birthday, I think, is an accurate way of putting it. The Radio Times put a thing together with a whole bunch of list of his credits and pictures and stuff from his various roles. Chris Phone, I can't remember his Twitter handle right now. Chris Phone on Twitter. Posted 100 images for 100 years, obviously, on March 25th, the 100th anniversary of his birthday. You forget sometimes how prolific an actor Patrick Troughton was and how lucky Doctor Who was to get him. And,
that prolific career is what led them to ask him in the first place, of course.
Oh, yeah. And the fascinating thing is that, like, it's all more or less guest appearances, or one-offs. Like, the fact that he did Doctor Who for 3 years is astounding when you look at his career as a whole. because it's like, one off, because that's what he wanted to do. He just like, I get bored with the part. Let's just do these little things. And I love the fact that he was like worried that Doctor Who would like typecast him. Literally the next week, The Merry Wives of Windsor, he's on doing rehearsals for after he leaves Doctor Who. The very next week after he leaves Doctor Who, he's back. Okay, I'll just do another job. Like, it was remarkable. What a hell of a career. So it was kind of neat seeing various people celebrate his life and career, including his son, Michael Troughton, of course, who's on Twitter. There's also there's stuff coming down the pipe. Maybe one day, as you say, Chris, we'll get our season 26 Blu-ray sets.
Well, we remark all the time about how far behind we are relative to the UK as far as these releases are concerned, and now that we have to tack another 6 weeks or whatever onto season 26, it's just that much more frustrating.
Yeah,
I'm not aware of anybody in the US who ordered 26 who didn't get it. Everyone seemed to have gotten it in the States. It's just us up here in Canada that are missing out for the time being. But again, it's not like we don't have it on our shelves already. It's not like we haven't seen it 100 times.
I know, it's a VAM. It's a VAM.
It's the VAM.
It's all
and the picture. I mean, the enhanced picture and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. But other stuff is coming. Season 14 here, the Hooray release, as we'll call it, is coming out July 21st in the Canada and the US. As of right now, we say. So I've pre-ordered that. Let's see when that gets here. I think I pre-ordered Faceless ones way back when too, but
I still haven't because I don't know. I kind of hold out hope. I don't know why that we're going to get Blu-rays of those. Because like Macro Terror, for example, we only got on DVD. We didn't get Blu-ray. No. Faceless ones, so far, there's no news of a Blu-ray.
Did Power ever come out on Blu-ray here? I don't think it did. I don't think it came out on DVD, didn't it?
Just the DVD, yeah.
Yeah, so we don't get the animated Blu-rays for some reason. But you know what? They'll all be on the box set, the Season 4 box set. So that's
true.
That's why I'm looking at it. Speaking of Blu, this is fun. This is exciting because I was dumb and I thought I'm going to order the UK Blu-ray of the two Dalek movies and hopefully they'll work on my machine. They did not, but I have them. I don't need to worry about that anymore because they're coming out here in North America on the 101st anniversary of John Pertwee's birthday, for what it's worth, July 7th. Both Dalek movies, Doctor Who and the Daleks and Daleks Invasion Earth 2150 AD are coming out on North American Blu-ray.
Or as the studio behind them tweeted out, Doctor Who and the Daleks.
Oh, they screw it up? Oh, well,
they screwed it up.
They did.
Oh, the dreaded historical Daleks.
Yeah,
the Daleks.
The awesome thing. This is cool though because they're this was not on the UK version. I checked just before recording, and indeed they boast about this in their tweets. New audio commentaries for both of them from Kim Newman and Robert Shearman. So I often
styled as film historian. Robert Shearman.
Absolutely.
Well, I mean, it's not inaccurate.
Absolutely. I mean, this is something that they haven't ever really done on Doctor Who because, they try and get all the people who were sort of working on the show at the time. But, a lot of like old film Blu-rays and DVDs and stuff have commentators from like film professors and like, that sort of thing to give sort of a critical look to what they're watching as opposed to, I remember shooting this. Actually, I don't remember shooting this. So I'm intrigued to watch that because I know Rob Shearman, obviously, and I imagine he has interesting things to say about this. So, I haven't seen that for pre-order, but they're off. They're from KL Studio Classics is the company that puts these out. They put out a lot of like old movies and stuff on Blu-ray, and so they're kind of like a Criterion collection, if you will, and such. So
for like B films,
yeah, it's fascinating. I'm just sort of reading along the Twitter thread to this, and the Mark Ayers is saying, "Hi, I consulted on the mastering of these two films many years ago, and there are a number of gotchas. You probably got it covered, but I'd be happy to share my experience and check your masters if it's of interest." That's hilarious.
I swear Mark Ayers has a way of like printing time, if that's a thing. Like he seems to have like 8 zillion projects on the go at any point in time.
Yeah.
And finds time to add more to the list as well.
I know. Yeah, quite something. Yeah. So, and then John Kelly, ex of the restoration team, is when Richard Bigelow saying, "Oh wow, this Newman Shearman commentary is new, isn't it?" So like it's fascinating when this comes out, and then like the Doctor Who professionals even poke their ears up and say, "Wait a second, what's going on here?" So,
well, they're all fans too.
They're all fans. They're all nerds, same
including
as the rest
Rob.
of us.
Yeah. Hey, this is neat. When the Faceless Ones UK Blu-ray hit in the UK, it was number 1 on the Blu-ray charts. Number 1.
What?
And number 6 on
That's
the DVD.
weird.
I know. Well, this is the thing. A lot of people were like probably waiting for it. Like, it makes me think that when Pearl Jam in their later years, and they're still going, when an album came out, they were number 1. Like, holy crap, Pearl Jam's still a thing.
Well, like Star Trek movies. Star Trek movies are always number 1 for the first week, and then they dive precipitously because every Trekkie had seen them.
Exactly. All the Pearl Jam fans, which are basically, Pearl Jam is like the new Grateful Dead because a bunch of people just follow them around to various concerts. Not now, obviously, but and so I imagine a lot of people sort of like were well and truly pumped for Faceless Ones. But that's just awesome because Faceless Ones is not the first. Animated Blu-ray.
It's not even the 5th.
It's
I was gonna say, I thought you were gonna say not the first story you think of, which it definitely isn't.
No, I'm just like it's not like, oh wow, Doctor Who's finally being animated. Like this is a somewhat routine thing now about animating missing episodes. So
it's not even a completely missing story like Power.
Yeah, it's not as unknown and stuff. So and it's and to be fair, Faceless Ones is not exactly like the marquee one that a Power of the Daleks would be either. So the fact that it's garnering such an interest is pretty cool. One day we'll get it here, maybe in 2021. Maybe they'll find the actual episodes, and we won't even bother to watch the animated versions because they'll have.
Well, they keep the animated ones on the same disc. Come on now.
They burn them.
I like how I'm pre-angering myself here.
They cull them.
How dare you?
They cull all the animated copies from around the world and says, "Give them. We're wiping them from existence.
We're making them missing.
Yeah,
we're taking the cells, which don't exist, and ripping them out to shreds."
Rob Ritchie, who is one of the animators on it, took the opportunity to insert a couple of things in there, like little visual gags, if you will. There's a couple. There's a Roger Delgado wanted poster, for instance, in one of the rooms.
Nice.
The story takes place in 1966. And then, this is the great thing, he had that originally, and then Spyfall went out, and of course it was revealed that Sacha Dhawan is the master, and so he went back and actually added a wanted poster for Sacha Dhawan's master as well. Mm-hmm. So you can see that somewhere in the background.
On top of that as well, based on somebody saying it should be in there because Faceless Ones takes place July 20th, 1966, same day as Part of Evil, the Daleks, and the same day as the War Machines. Mm-hmm. Somebody said, hey, there should be like something in the newspaper about what's going on with the War Machines in London. And Rob was like, yeah, that's a great idea, and put something in about that as well.
Yeah, so quick. Just like that's what you can do. So I look forward to that.
Even beyond that, links in the show notes, David J. Howe put together a list, which eventually got crowdsourced. He put an initial list together, and then people contributed additions, but of all the Easter eggs that hit the Faceless Ones DVD.
Wow. It'll all be old news by the time we get it. I also want to point out, I mean, this is something that Gary Russell mentioned at Gallifrey 1. Remember Gallifrey 1? God, that was a fun time.
Seems so long
We're so
ago,
lucky we got to go before this all fell apart.
I know. Yeah. And when he did a panel on, because of course he's producing Fury from the Deep, as you may have heard when he was talking about it on our live show, but we didn't say it on our live show because we didn't have that much time, but he said elsewhere on the weekend is that, Rob Ritchie could take an opportunity to sort of make little gag posters and stuff to put in because it's not affecting the audio at all. The original audio is still intact, and you can sort of do things like that in animated Doctor Who. What I loved about what Gary Russell has done for Fury from the Deep when it comes out is that a lot of the background artists who were most likely white men probably back in 1968 when they made Fury from the Deep, he's made them a lot more diverse. There's a Sikh fellow with a turban. There's a lot more women in the background. And he's also given Graham Lehman, the actor who was used a wheelchair, but he often did not for his roles on television, and they're all like seated. Like he was in Doctor Who like 5 times, and all of them are he's just sitting down basically because he didn't want the stigma of not being able to use his legs as a thing that would hold back his career. And I think it was kind of like sort of a hidden secret. I'm like, let's cast him, but like don't tell anyone that he can't walk because that might sink his career, because this was the 1960s. And so what Gary Russell has done, he's actually given him a sort of a futuristic wheelchair to use around, and so he's not hiding anymore, which I thought was very nice. So well done, Gary Russell, on sort of diversifying Fury from the Deep a little bit. I look forward to seeing that in 2023 in this country at this current rate of release. But one thing that's still on track, this is good, is the Series 12 soundtrack by Sega Nakanola, which is due April 3rd. I pre-ordered it on the old popular iTunes, which is what they're still calling it, service, not just Apple Music, but iTunes, because I like to try to buy music whenever I can, because especially these days when musicians can't exactly go on concert tours right now, or even play in coffee shops, and so a lot of them are sort of doing live streaming performances as well. So I've plunked down the tiny amount of money that it is for one of the great soundtracks, which is the Series 12 one. So yeah, April 3rd, that's coming out. Also, details are now available for the Sunmakers and Visitation releases coming up.
The vinyl.
The vinyl
It's
ones.
vinyl and CD, I think.
It is vinyl and CD as well.
Yeah.
And hopefully on digital, because I imagine it is. The Sunmakers is such a curious thing. The fact that the whole thing actually exists because Dudley Simpson owned his own stuff, and the vast majority of the original audio tracks do not exist because they were wiped and destroyed and stuff. But apart from the ones that were mistakenly put back incorrectly in the BBC Radiophonic Workshop, and the Sunmakers is just one of those instances. So yeah, the Sunmakers exists as a soundtrack, and that's coming out. And then the Visitation, music by Paddy Kingsland, is coming out as well. That has come out, I believe, in the past in other formats, but it's sort of been gussied up a little bit. I am so looking forward to Modern Undead getting released in this format, because it's one of my favorite scores, especially from Paddy Kingsland. I want to hear the Turlo and Hippo go for a ride. That music. I want to hear that in pristine quality someday. So
as an iron 5.1 off vinyl somehow
as an isolated thing.
Yeah. Which I can anyway. I mean, I can listen to the isolated music track on the DVDs. But anyway, those CDs are coming out May the 1st, May Day, if you will. What is seeing a new vinyl release is Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Yes. Yes. They're limiting it to 750 copies. There's 3 discs. They're all multi-color. I love colored discs. You know what they look like? They look like kind of like that sort of sugary licorice kind of thing that you sort of like that.
Well, that's what the original novel looked like, I think, if I'm thinking the same thing. Or one edition of it did anyway, the Pan edition.
Yeah, it's using the color palette, I believe, of that first cover, perhaps. Yeah. But so that's coming out to celebrate the 42nd anniversary of Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. So that's cool for all you vinyl fans. We'll see if that's affected any by the current world crisis, but that's happening. Big Finish. There's a whole host of Big Finish stuff here. Strap in, folks. The Return of the Cybermen is a quote unquote lost story, but they're doing it for
very confusingly lost.
Well, yeah, it's it was the original, sort of the original intended version of what eventually became Revenge of the Cybermen. It was entirely. Oh no, was it Genesis of the Cybermen? I think Anyway, Return of the Cybermen coming from Big Finish in 2021. They did a trailer of it with like the invasion style Cybermen in it and stuff. Finding people hiding in the closet, things. It was all very exciting. So yeah, this will be part of the Lost Stories with Tom Baker in the Return of the Cybermen. So That's coming down the pipe in November of 2021, which means they've already recorded it. Big Finish tweeted out a picture.
Probably last year.
Yeah, Big Finish tweeted out a picture. Tom Baker has now been Doctor Who on Big Finish longer than he has been on TV. Wow, that's crazy.
That is weird. It's just, I say this every time, but damn, that's just odd.
It's just odd. Very odd indeed. Hey, the Daleks are back too. The Third Doctor Adventures feature 2 Dalek box set. Poison to the Daleks, and Operation Hellfire, which also features the return of Ian McNeice as Winston Churchill. So that's neat. That's available for pre-order right now as well from Big Finish. What else we got here? There's new Torchwood releases in May and June as well. There's the Pater Noster Gang, Heritage 3 coming in May of 2020. Featuring, of course, the aforementioned Dan Starkey and Niamh McIntosh and Katrin Stewart as the Pater Noster Gang, the great trio of Victorian time crime fighting, not time traveling as much. They stay in the same time.
Do they fight crime so much as just aliens?
Yeah, I suppose. So that's coming as well. Any of you know about Roblox? Yeah, are you
Kids.
I'm on the page right now. Okay. I know they're lesser Dr. Lego.
The kids love the Roblox. Roblox and Minecraft are on Fortnite, I guess, as well. But
I'm thinking of the wrong thing.
They're like super huge in the like late single digit age, early double digit ages.
Oh yeah. So it's one of those things, and it's always like a virtual thing. I know nothing of Roblox. I don't.
Is it kind of like Lego open world kind of stuff, except not Lego?
I've never played it to know.
Okay.
Or am I just grafting Lego onto this for no good reason?
Yeah, I think you are. I think you're just like looking at the blocks aspect of things.
Yeah, I am. Here's the problem. I am not anywhere near the single digits, so I have no clue what I'm talking about.
That's true. No.
Consult your local 6-year-old.
Yeah.
Probably, yeah.
Well, anyway, they Doctor Who. They had a couple of different. God, we sound so dumb. We sound so dumb right now talking about this because we really know what we're saying.
Well, not just talking about this, just generally, but we sound even dumber now.
Anyway, there was a couple of extra. You could be the 10th or the 13th Doctor, or even a Patinga and a portable TARDIS in Roblox from March 12th to 26th. But it's over now, so if you didn't get it, you can't now. You lost your chance.
Nothing like disappointing a child.
I know. I like that we spent time talking about a thing that we didn't understand and is also over. Well done.
Congratulations. We're CNN.
Well done, us. During these times of crisis and you have nothing else to do, this is great because our good old friend Neil Perryman has made available Volume 1 of The Wife in Space. The novel version of his popular blog that, of course, he put out for free. Yeah, he'll release more free volumes as the weeks go on. So, link in the show notes to his tweet about it. You could download it for free, which is great. It's very entertaining. Him and his wife, who's never seen Doctor Who before, watch along, and we view her reactions. It's very amusing and stuff. So neat. Just a few smattering of items. This is we're almost there, folks, and then we're going to do fluid links, I swear. Obverse Books, who of course is responsible for the Black Archive releases, has offered a 3-for-2 deal. So you buy 2 and you get the third one free. Essentially, is how it works. And they're very affordable little things. They're books that look at a story, one story at a time from a different angle. James Corey Smith has a new one for Underwater Menace. I'm really intrigued by Robert Smith's Doctor Who and the Silurians because Robert is like a biomathematician, so he basically talks about the spread of viruses and stuff. So
he's a mathematician, but he's done like mathematical modeling of viruses and zombie outbreaks and things like that.
He was consulted by local news, I believe, recently about this whole current fracas.
Yeah.
But of course, in episode 6 of Doctor Who and the Silurians, there's the outbreak.
Yeah,
which is weirdly prescient.
It is. So I might pick the one up. Maybe it'll be my free one. As I said, 3-for-2. So links in the show notes to get more information on Black Archive books 3-for-2 from Obverse Books. So this is exciting. We're trying to find a way to get this happening for Warren. But Doctor Who Magazine issue 550 is coming out the first week of April, so this week. The opportunity to get this thing via subscription is past, sadly, but the physical copy for subscribers will include a season 14 TARDIS set diorama designed and
Set
created
to the 5-inch
by
scale.
Yeah, it's for 5, so proper dolly scale, designed by Gav from Daleks 6388, who is of course responsible for the Terry Nation Army. So there has to be some way that, Warren, you can have this, so you can have your favorite TARDIS console room as a diorama for your action dollies.
The main
with my 3D printed console.
Yes, you have the console already. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
The main limiting factor, of course, being that this is going to. So there was a special deal for subscribers to get this because it's like a bumper volume that's normally higher. That's higher cost, but they had a deal where you could get it for the normal cost. Secondarily, it's not hitting newsstands.
Oh no!
That's the big thing. Is it's if I remember correctly, it's not going to newsstands. It's only through subscription as well.
Man, that's tough.
Why do you hate me?
I know.
DWM.
It's tough work. I mean, they shot Doctor Who Magazine in Warren's hometown. The '96 TV movie was made in Warren's home.
Well, it wasn't my hometown at the time, to be fair.
No, that's true. But you could go to locations. You could do. I mean, this is.
I've wandered by them ignorantly many times.
I mean, we came to England once, and mostly we just visited Doctor Who locations because. So I feel like, not that you owe us Doctor Who Magazine, but I feel that
that's a hell of a way to start a sentence.
You owe us. Basically, is what I
I'm
mean to say.
I'm hopeful I'm misremembering the whole not hitting newsstands things, because if that's the case, then it'll be out there to buy, and Warren might be able to go to his, when it's permissible anyway, go to his local chapters or whatever and buy a copy of the issue.
Like 3 months from now, because there's
always a massive delay on that as well. Yeah,
always massive. Well, anyway, I'd like some help there, if at all possible, for an isolated fan here. And I'm trying to big you up here, Warren. I'm trying to help you out, is what I mean to say.
It's not working. It sounds like I'm this poor charity case who needs a diorama pad, or I'll die.
Well, you kind of.
If I don't get my vitamins.
What else are you going to do in these times of strife?
That's true.
Without except making dolly images on the internet. So.
Oh, I'm going to continue. That's the beauty of the dolly arts.
I know.
It can be done from the home.
It could be done even better if you had a season 14 TARDIS diorama. It would make a young boy in Vancouver very happy. A young, almost 50-year-old boy very happy.
I mean, no part of that sentence is inaccurate.
Right. So if you're listening, Marcus Hearn or Peter Ware at the Doctor, or Emily Cook, maybe
we need some violins. Remember to edit violins under this.
Possibly. Just help him out. Help a boy achieve his dream.
Are you Sally Struthers at this point, or Sarah McLachlan? I've lost track.
Both are very dated references at this point, so I am...
Sarah McLachlan's still on, hawking away for animals.
That's just... Oh, I like animals, so that's all right. So anyway, for everyone else, Doctor Who Magazine comes out April 2nd. The last bit of news is sad news. David Collings has passed away. A tremendous actor who graced Doctor Who's presence twice in The Robots of Death and Modern Undead. He passed away this past week. He was also very good in Blake 7, in the last episode of Blake 7. He was also superb in Sapphire and Steel. Those are the only things I've seen him in, but he was in so much else, and a very nice chap as well. So very sad. Sad news indeed. Anything else? Do I have to end this news segment on a downturn in my voice?
Of course you do.
Always got to end it on a downturn.
Yeah.
As is tradition.
Well, it's time to have some fun then, at least, because at long last, everyone, it's time to play Fluid Links.
Do you know what this is? Fluid Link K57.
Ah, yes, of course, the Fluid Link.
What's a fluid link?
No idea.
Yes, Fluid Links, your questions and comments about Doctor Who. Specifically for Series 12, we sort of put a call out, just because we haven't really talked about that as a whole right now. But other questions are purely acceptable. And here's the first fluid link. A speculation time. Oh, good. Speculation time.
Right. This will lead somewhere great.
A streaming service saves Doctor Who when the government forces the BBC to only make news and public service programs. This is kind of perhaps relevant. Which service is it, and what changes do they make? Kevin D. Griffiths on Twitter
Netflix.
asked that.
Easy Netflix.
Really? Netflix? No, I don't think it's Netflix. I think it's HBO.
Okay, well, I think it's Netflix because they have $1 zillion and they don't make any changes. They let the thing happen, just like they did with Toast of London and various other things.
And they just slap a Netflix logo on the front. No,
yeah, and they say a Netflix original, whether it is or not.
Oh, God, I hate it when they do that.
And because they know you want it to happen, Stephen, they release all 12 episodes of the season in one fell swoop.
I love that so much. Isn't it great? Isn't it great how?
No, but this is not what you want to happen. This is what do you think would happen.
I mean, I have beat this horse to a pulp, but like I just find it fascinating that a live tweet along watching of a thing like just like everyone pick an episode of Doctor Who and watch it at the same time. Like both times Day of the Doctor and Rose were trending worldwide. Just on Twitter. And yet, at like the next day after the Rose thing happened, Picard, the finale of Picard happened. Like I'm looking at has a lot of people aren't talking about it because everyone is just watching it at different times.
That is confirmation bias too. That is you looking at a primarily Doctor Who list of people and going, why aren't they talking about Picard?
Very true. But
if you were looking at primarily a Star Trek bunch of people, you'd see something probably
different. And also, speaking of streaming stuff, don't forget that these tweet-alongs probably wouldn't be happening if all the Doctor Who stuff wasn't on the iPlayer.
I figured that too, but also it just my main point is everyone watching something at once. It's a public event. Everything watching something at hey, it's available at literally 11 p.m. on Wednesday night in the Pacific time zone. Then you can start watching it there. But a lot of people are waiting until Thursday night, and so staggered watch times means staggered experiences.
Which, I mean...
But are we talking about what we want to see happen, or are we talking about what would happen? Because I think it would either be HBO or Netflix. Those are the two with enough cash to pull this off.
HBO is going to be broadcasting, doing the North American, or the American streaming.
Yeah, but this is our fantasy football conjecture.
No, that's what I'm saying, is because HBO is doing the US streaming for it, that means they have a high awareness of it. Yeah. They're willing to put money into it, but then again...
We kind of have the rights to it. I don't know, the legalities
but Amazon Prime...
Maybe that would help, I don't know.
Amazon Prime and Netflix both had it in the past as well. So it's not like they're not aware of it.
I feel like HBO Max would be the place for it, just because we might have covered something like this before, perhaps the speculation. But BBC has sort of gone in on Chernobyl and a couple other things. BBC and HBO have sort of done co-pros in a way, and I just feel like Doctor Who is such a big property and a big production.
Too big for BritBox.
Way too big for BritBox.
Oh, totally.
And I just feel like it's still such a treasured. I mean, it beat the BBC. It's not made at BBC Television Centre. It's made by BBC Studios right now. But so BBC Studios would still make the show, but the BBC itself might have to say we're not going to air it. You kind of have to find another place to air it. So this is where I'm coming in with the HBO Max.
The only two other serious candidates, just because of money, are Amazon and Apple. And Amazon, I would hope it wouldn't, because Amazon's across the board, the organization of what they do it's impossible to find anything. It's annoying as hell. Their apps are all terrible, which is weird for one of the biggest companies in the world. Apple has the money, and they don't put out that much. So if they did do this, they would do it with enough due consideration. But it doesn't strike me as an Apple thing to do. You know what I mean?
No, Apple is very
they're circumspect.
They're steadfastly saying we are making our own thing. Eventually, I would have to think they're going to have to think maybe buy a property, maybe buy one.
Well, they did
property.
remake Amazing Stories, which is an anthology, so it kind of doesn't matter.
It's a remake, but it's new stuff.
But that's the only one I could think of. Yeah.
On that note, I mean, we're sort of talking about the beginning of the show. I mean, Doctor Who is slated to begin production in September. As current, this is before everything sort of went haywire and stuff. So even that is sort of up in the air right now, because September, is that a reasonable prospect? Who knows right now? So things might change by the time that September rolls around and Doctor Who is slated to begin production, but it might not.
Just as an aside, isn't it interesting that we're talking about the only people that could possibly do this are these giant mammoths, the 4 of them, as opposed to these other companies, whereas BBC has been putting out this and a billion other things for literally a century. So for all the talk of how terrestrial TV is doomed, they're pretty good at this.
That they are good at this, yes, but I mean, it is a different world right now, Warren. The BBC is sort of like changed.
I'm just saying it's interesting how we write them off when in fact they've got the best shot of doing it.
I know, but I mean, as of right now, anything that's on the BBC, I don't know what's on the BBC right now because I don't get the BBC, obviously, but I know they have sort of like scaled back and sort of like refocused a lot of their priorities now and just covering the COVID-19 crisis. So
yeah, fair enough as well.
Yeah, the global pandemic. It's not every day a global pandemic comes along and changes your broadcast priorities. So and you know, I mentioned when you know, Doctor Who's supposed to start again in September, but then you think about all the stuff that's been put on hold for right now, and if things are back to normal enough to begin TV production in September, then perhaps all the stuff that's been on hold, you know, all those people suddenly have to, okay, we're back doing this. And does like availability change in that regard? Mm-hmm. Not just actors, but crew as well. Like once everything sort of gets back to normal, quote unquote, it'll be interesting to see what when Doctor Who actually gets back to it. Will they have to delay as well? I suppose we'll see. September is a very, very long time away right now.
Yes, several years hence, September.
Yeah, indeed. All right, that's our speculation. I think we speculated enough. Is that reasonable? I think it is.
I think so.
Okay. Well, next fluid link. Here it is. How could the Master destroy all of Gallifrey on his own without recruiting an army? In brackets, did he get the light creatures to do it for him? Guitarist jams with that. So,
how could he? He's the Master.
Did he have? Well, did he do it just on his own?
Well, I mean, if you look at Deadly Assassin, for example, he pulled the strings, and Goth was his puppet. But you know, a lot of stuff went down with just him and Goth. Obviously,
I mean, he was screwing with the Eye of Harmony at the end of it. It's just him versus the Doctor. Yeah, the fate of the world.
The destruction of Gallifrey, obviously, little grander scale than what we saw in Deadly Assassin. But could he do it on his own? Sure.
I don't know. I feel like someone would have maybe he just. Well, here's the thing. He more attacked,
or more importantly, I guess he doesn't need an army. He could do it potentially with like a handful of people.
Well, I think he was more interested in shooting, like killing the Time Lords, as opposed to destroy. Like, what came first, chicken and egg? Was he there to destroy the Citadel on Gallifrey, or was he there to kill the Time Lords and the Citadel got destroyed in the process? You know. Here's another thing. These are not the Time Lords of old. These are Time Lords stuck in a pocket universe who are presumably quite weakened. Also, Rassilon has been sent off the planet. So which I always wonder if they're going to bring him back. No, because he avoided all this nonsense, right? Because he got ejected by the Doctor. Mm-hmm. Rassilon and Doctor Who.
So maybe he was able to
bring back Gallifrey. So maybe with Rassilon out of the way, the Time Lords are just like, oh well, we have no leader now. Now we're just pushovers. Like those little Time Lords at the end of the War Games. Just going, oh no, don't shoot, and then the guys just wasted them when Philip Maddox showed up on Gallifrey. Maybe it's those kind of. Maybe that's what happened. Maybe that's what happened. They were just pushovers. Maybe you're right. It was just the Master.
Also, how many actual Time Lords are there when in Heaven Sent or Hellbent? I can never get them right. There don't seem to be that many, really.
No,
Hellbent. You see some. I mean,
I'd still like to think that it was the Vardens who we hired.
That's fair.
You know, because they probably wouldn't have a crack at it, you know? Like, come on. We kind of got screwed over the first time.
Or how about, because he also has a vendetta against the Time Lords, the Master somehow teamed up with Omega. And the two of them destroyed Gallifrey.
Omega
somehow from the antimatter universe, you know.
How about he got a hold of the moment? But since they're in a pocket universe, it's the only thing they destroyed. It makes no sense. No. How about it's just a blip and we move past it? Because that's what it is.
No.
How about we don't see it happen, but that doesn't mean that we won't see it happen in the future?
That's a good point. maybe in a future episode written by someone else when Gallifrey inevitably comes back.
Well, it's still there. It's just broken.
Right. I don't know. So it could have been just him, or it could have been an army of Vardens, or
to address the question itself, was it the light creatures? No. I don't see that being a thing.
I doubt it. Yeah.
No. Which are the light creatures? What is the
From Spyfall?
Oh, those guys.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
See, there's another plot thread that wasn't filled in.
That kind of wasn't, was it? They sort of, we're just here and now we're not. Yeah, that's true.
And what about Lenny? Where the hell's Lenny Henry? Is Lenny Henry Rassilon?
Where is Lenny Henry?
Lenny Henry is Rassilon.
Yeah, he just sort of wandered off, didn't he? Oh, I bet you he'll be back in Series 13 when it starts shooting in a year.
Him and Tim Shaw. Tim Shaw, the future version of Rassilon. Actually, Tim Shaw is Omega. There, done.
Oh, there it is. Okay, Tim Shaw as Omega with the Master shooting people somewhat unconvincingly. Destroyed Gallifrey.
Perfectly reasonable.
Got it. Okay. Next we'll link. I wouldn't mind being stuck indoors, but I still have to go out and work. That sucks, actually. Which series 12?
Dangerous, actually.
Yeah. Which series 12 story shall I watch back to back with a classic series story to help set my mind on something escapist and engaging? Well.
Oh wow. So probably not something heavy like Timeless Children and Deadly Assassin.
No, that's pretty heavy, actually. Yeah. So let's see here. What about haunted house stories? And well, actually, no, escapist isn't with the Fila Diodati.
There's a pretty heavy aspect to all of Series 12.
There's a bit, isn't there? Yeah.
Series, I don't know. Spyfall's pretty escapist when you get right down to it.
I suppose.
Kinda.
It's a lot of fun.
But I mean, but I mean, you think of like Orphan 55 or Praxeus, where it's got this deep environmental message to go along with everything else in the story. Those kind of have to be taken out. I think Diodata, maybe not.
I want to say, how about hear me out on this? Hear me out. Time Lash with H.G. Wells.
No, it's terrible.
And then the Nikola Tesla episode. Yeah. Hit two
Tesla's a good safe one.
Back-to-back celebrity historicals featuring...
but one is awful.
It is terrible. It's so... I've really come to reappraise the idea of Time Lash as opposed to the actual story of Time Lash. Yeah.
The book is okay, which means the idea is all right.
Yeah.
It's just the actual execution.
The execution is
not
terrible. Good. Yeah, it's not a good story. Yeah, but
I could go for that. I mean,
if you want escapist fare, my go-to is always Pyramids of Mars. I don't know why, but it is.
But what would that pair with?
Yeah, you got to pair it.
Series 12.
Like you're pairing a cheese and a wine here, basically.
Yeah, I already said Spyfall. Spyfall is my go-to fun one. So
how would those pair?
I don't know how they're supposed to connect in some way.
Yeah.
Well, since Spyfall is the only spy one ever, like I don't know, City of Death because there's an investigator in it. There you go.
Oh.
That's my very weak half-assed pairing.
And it's
that's acceptable. I think. Yeah.
Takes place in a different country other than England. So
given our arbitrary and silly rules,
City of Death and Spyfall. That's not a bad thing. Actually,
that works. That works.
Well, then I'm off the hook.
That'd be nice.
Sounds good.
Remember City of Death? Remember they're walking around in Paris interacting with other people? God, those are the days. Man.
Fill in any story ever.
Everything is I saw someone tweet about this. So like basically anything that was made prior to February 2020 is a historical document now. Like, you know, any TV show that I watch new. I was watching a bit of Kim's Convenience with Erica the other day, and like I was just going, I'm just gonna I might go and see a concert this summer. I might go back to Korea actually and make it for flight. Oh, what innocent times those were. You could just sort of like, I'm gonna go see a concert. Nope, no more concert.
This is the people gathering equivalent of when you watch The Matrix and their futuristic phones come out and you're like, what?
Yeah.
What the hell is this?
True. Escapist. Yeah, City of Death and Spyfall. Sounds like a lot of fun together.
That works for me. Yep.
Let's do it. I might just watch that now, in fact. Next fluid link. Which previously non-canonical Doctor do you think benefits most from the timeless children? Chris H. CDH Who on Twitter.
Previously non-canonical Doctor.
Previously
All
non-canonical.
all the production team ones.
Yeah, but which one? Hinchcliffe, maybe? Oddly enough,
Graham Harper.
I want to point out that it's odd that for 8 regenerations there, the Doctor basically stayed with the same costume designer, and that they're all sort of like foppish. I want to think that he went through a lot of regenerations in the same time period. Like Morbius Doctors were very like self-contained. There must have been a hell of a CIA. Yes, I'm still using Celestial Intervention Agency.
That's fair.
As a name for them, something going on during that time where they had an operation that went through several different regenerations of the Doctor pre-William Hartnell. Which one of those benefits the most? I don't know.
George Galaccio.
You just like
Well, which have we seen? Joe. How about Joe? Because she's presumably before the William Hartnell Doctor, so she benefits from it, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
You mean Ruth?
Yeah, Joe, Ruth, whatever you want to call her.
Joe Martin is the actress.
Martin, yeah, the actress.
Yeah, but I've heard her referred to as the Joe Doctor. So
yeah, but that I get the
I don't like that. I disagree with that. Strike that from the record.
you cannot like it, but I'm
strike
still
it from the record.
Yeah, because it's close.
Okay.
Yeah, it's close to Jodie too. Well, we call it Jodie Doctor just because it's fun to say the word Jodie.
Yeah, I suppose so. No, I'm going with George Galaccio because number one, his name is fun to say, and number two, unlike Christopher Barry or Philip Hinchcliffe or Douglas Camfield, he's not very well known.
George Galaccio, Chris, dare I say, has become your new Gordon Tipple.
Yeah.
Oh dear God,
I can go with that. Yeah.
Our new national nightmare.
Yeah, I'm afraid we got 10 more years of this, Warren.
Great, wonderful.
Yeah,
Tip top.
I think it would be neat if it benefited Graham Harper's Doctor, just because he's one of the greatest directors in Doctor Who history, and then he'd also be like another Doctor, which would be cool. I think the fascinating thing about this is that you might have to twist this around, but as you know, Stephen Moffat wanted to get the rights to put the Doctor Who and the Dalek movies posters in Day of the Doctor, and it would show that, hey, they actually made movies about the Doctor, and they were those movies to make those movies canon. But in that instance would have also made Peter Cushing's Doctor not canon because it was clearly just a dramatic portrayal. So I feel that if you could somehow twist that actually no, it wasn't Peter Cushing playing Doctor Who, it was Peter Cushing as Doctor Who playing Doctor Who as himself and that would be fascinating. And I would like to see
kind of surreptitiously. Yeah,
kind of like, oh sure, I'll play myself as myself, but he didn't know. Everyone just thought he was just Peter Cushing, but no, he's actually the Doctor Who just happened to look like Peter Cushing in that regeneration.
So Peter Cushing was the Doctor?
Peter Cushing was the Doctor.
Peter Cushing, the person, was the Doctor.
Yes. Or at the very least, someone who looked like Peter Cushing. Maybe he chose that face. Maybe he was actually Peter Cushing. Peter Cushing, the actor, was actually the Doctor, and for some reason he was trying to infiltrate Hammer Horror for decades. And failing at every opportunity, but he was trying to do it as the actor Peter Cushing, and then of course, he regenerated into something else. But
I speak for I think a good section of the audience when I say bees are on the what now.
Yes, that is 100%.
Can we consider people like Brian Proudfoot or Evan Warwick? Are they kind of non-canonical Doctors?
I don't think you can count stunt. Oh, I see. Or Richard Herndl.
Richard Herndl, I guess. Yeah, sure.
Maybe Richard Herndl. Isn't that fascinating?
What about anybody who played him in Action by Havoc?
What
Terry
about the
Walsh,
Schalke Doctor?
Schalke Doctor is probably the one, isn't it? But then, was it?
What about Curse the Fatal Doctors? Come on.
Yeah. Okay. Joanna Lumley. Yeah.
Right.
First female Doctor Who. Yeah.
I don't know though, because I feel like all the Doctor. Can we establish? We can establish a timeline.
I like how you're. No, that's too flippant. Yeah, that's not flippant enough.
Did we determine one? I can't. I said
Peter
Cushing.
I gave my pick a while ago. You guys are waffling.
And Warren is just something about bees.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't. This whole Peter Cushing thing has thrown me for a complete loop. I may have to go lie down.
I guess so.
I think for the sake of a lot of people's opinions out there, Peter Cushing might be the best answer.
Yeah, Peter Cushing, officially a doctor and an actor who played a doctor. Wrap your head around that.
And
Next
the whole
link.
Grand Moff Tarkin thing is kind of over there.
Very much. Next fluid link. With the Doctor getting more moments of darkness and depth in Series 12, do you think this will continue into Series 13? And where do you want her arc to go? October Moore on Twitter says this. Dark.
Yes.
Getting darker? Think so?
I think
equally dark.
Equally dark, I think, is viable. I don't think they can really claw it back too much.
Mm-hmm.
But also, how far are they going to go with this Timeless Children thing? Or are they going to do anything with it?
Who knows?
I don't know if it's done yet or not.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, you saw the Timeless Children part. I mean, I guess one thing I don't think we talked about in reviewing the episode was, why is it the Timeless Children if there's only one Timeless Child? That implies there should be more. So I think
because the Master ain't got no more time for this nonsense. That's why.
I think we're not done with the Timeless Children. I don't think we're done.
I think you're probably right.
I don't think we're done with Gallifrey. We're not done with the Master. We might be done with the Time Lord Cybermen things. Even though they,
I think we are
seemingly escaped.
That was. I don't see how you. I don't see how you go any further with that.
No,
just,
those
the army that regenerates.
Those kind of scream one off to me.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's. I mean,
so yeah, I think it has to have some darkness for sure going on to 13 or beyond.
We have.
I mean, there's rumors out there about things, and we know the Daleks are in the next story, so maybe bad things happen there.
This is the thing. I mean, Jodie's Doctor just sort of starts. I'm going to sit down for a little bit and take some me time to process everything that's been going. Oh, geez, I've just been kidnapped by the Jadoon. So she hasn't had that opportunity to sort of process what's been happening. So the stuff that we think started in Series 12 might continue into the Series 13, but it also might sort of like come to a bit of a head and a climax and a resolution in the special whenever that airs.
I would guess that's what happens.
Yeah.
And if Whittaker's Doctor actually did go to like Shada, then that can open some dark doors.
That's true.
If that's like the worst of the worst out there. In
I wonder, like, how much more can you dive into the Doctor's personal past after Timeless Children stuff?
I think you've pretty much plumbed the depths on that one.
I think you can keep going. You can go back to that well over and over again. But you have to.
You shouldn't though.
Yeah. You have to have some gaps in there. You can't do it every week.
Yeah. But every Doctor seems to get progressively darker. It's rare that a modern series of Doctor Who sort of goes dark, then darker, then lighter, then lighter. Everything's fine. It doesn't.
Although in a way, Capaldi did.
I mean,
I suppose he did actually, didn't he?
Hartnell's Doctor was a bit of a dick here and there with against the monk and whatnot.
I'm talking modern series here, just because that's just the way things arc. Things are made differently these days, and
Tennant's Doctor definitely went from less dark to dark. That's for sure.
Way too dark, yeah. Matt Smith's dark. Capaldi, as you say, wore not as much, but then he did die at the end.
Because he started out real dark, so yeah.
Yeah, where else could he go, really? So, I don't know. I don't think he can sort of bounce back quite as easily from this one. So, yeah, there'll be some dark stuff, but it might be different. It might be less personal darkness. We'll see. We'll see. I suppose, but things have. There's still an episode to come, probably, hopefully Christmas, where things might get wrapped up or further expanded upon. So I guess we'll see.
This may be Christmas episode where things might just happen.
Events may occur.
Yeah, very possible. Okay, possibly the last fluid link. Let's see. Fluid link. Here we go. You must self-isolate. That's good advice right there, actually. Just you and any one of the Doctor's companions. Who is it and why? This is from Bulbatron. Please, a reminder, keep this clean.
Well, yes.
If it's self-isolating, then you're not with anybody.
Well, just you and a companion.
So basically, what this boils down to is who'd make the best roommate of the companions.
Pretty much, you're stuck in isolation for like 3 months, we'll say, with one of Doctor Who's companions.
Okay.
Who's going to annoy you the least?
Here's my idea. Harry Sullivan, because he's a doctor, and he seems like a chummy bloke you could hang with.
Yes, a progressive gentleman of the age, I believe.
I never said that, but at least you got stuff to talk about.
Wouldn't he be like the 70s equivalent of a bro?
Kind of, yeah.
Kind of bro.
And don't you hate bros?
Or
would this be your odd couple moment where you can gain an understanding of that lifestyle?
And also, he's not a bro. He's not annoying. He's just kind of dumb and needs to be educated a bit. We all love Harry. Right. Nobody loves bros. So I mean. How about K9? He'd be useful.
No, he wouldn't. You'd have to fix him every 5 minutes.
That's true.
Well, it's something to do while I'm self-isolating.
Well, what do you fix him with though? You've only got like the crew of Apollo 13. You've only got like.
Well, then he's a coffee table. At least he's useful again.
That's true, actually. Yeah, or like a footrest or something. Or,
exactly.
A smart ass. Handles. Handles. I don't know. How do you feel about handles, Warren, in this situation when you're forced to have? I mean, basically, the Doctor was isolating with handles for so long.
Yeah, that's our model. We should go with that. We should tweet that out to the world. Here's how you handle self-isolation, people.
Just have a head of a Cyberman talking to you
for 200 years.
Yeah. Chris, do you got one? Do you have a particular?
I'm trying to think of a justification for Ian, because Ian's not overly but somewhat with it guy. He's quite fairly intelligent and stuff. So I don't know why, but I want to say Ian.
I think Leela would also be good because she's very resourceful. So if you run out of food, she's going to go out and hunt a deer or something for you.
That's true.
Maybe. Or she'll get bored.
Because I'm sure as hell not going to be able to hunt a deer, so at least I have her on my team.
Or she'll get bored and Jana's throwing you in the back.
Well, then it's a quick, easy death.
She might mistake you for an intruder. That is true. Mm-hmm. I'm going to go with Nyssa because... she's pleasant to be around, but, and this is important when you're stuck in the same room with them or dwelling for 3 months or so, is that she's very capable of just going off on her own and doing her own little telebiogenesis experiments on her own. And then you can sort of like gather at the end of the day, says, well, what did you learn about telebiogenesis? Less than nothing, which is what you knew about it before. I said, yeah, a little bit less than nothing. Well, that's perfect. So yeah, I'm going to go with Nyssa.
I'll tell you who you don't and this is an obvious answer, but I'm going to go with Logopolis because of it. Watch how the Doctor and Adric self-isolate. It does not go well.
No, it really doesn't. Adric is the worst. Don't.
or the Sixth Doctor and Perry, for that matter.
Oh, that's
yes.
good.
They are very bad at self-isolating. In Vengeance on Varys, for one, I believe.
Yeah, it's actually quite bad.
Fifth Doctor and Turlough, not so bad.
As far as have an okay time.
Don't self-isolate with him though. Well, it depends on which end of the murderous spectrum he is at the moment.
Well, there's a small crossover where that even happens in the thing. You notice how nobody's picking Adric.
No, we said we shot him down.
We said no.
We shot him down right.
Either Romana seems, just going on the example of the Doctor and Romana, they seem to be good at this.
Romana 1 would be a little too in your face about why you suck.
A little bit.
Possibly.
A little tetchy.
But maybe that's necessary in these trying times. A little self-reflection.
keep your ego in check kind of thing.
Yeah.
Possibly. Although how big can your ego get really in this? Well, speak for yourself, I suppose. Well, all right. I think we solved nothing there, which is exactly what we set out to do on Fluid Links. So
we never set out to do that. We just do it.
We just do it. Anyway, we hope you enjoyed playing Fluid Links. The game show that's not an actual game show, Fluid Links.
Yeah.
Anyway,
so like a quiz show.
Yeah, kind of more or less. That's it. That wraps this episode up. We hope it finds you well, everyone. We hope it has entertained and enlightened you. I don't know why it would have enlightened you, as you're hopefully sitting at home. Hopefully you're not finding this time too trying. Hopefully you're staying safe. Hopefully you're washing your hands. Hopefully you're going out only when you need to for food and stuff. And we as a group of Doctor Who fans, and indeed as a species on this planet Earth, can get through this thing together. The podcasts will continue. We'll be back next week and every other week after that. Again, as a reminder for those Patreon supporters, the Frontier in Space commentaries will be available on the Patreon feed this coming week. So thanks for your support as well for that. So until next time, I am Stephen in Edmonton.
Warren in Vancouver.
And Chris in Edmonton.
So long for now.
You've been listening to Radio Free Skaro. Find us online at radiofreeskaro.com. Follow us on Twitter and Tumblr at Radio Free Skaro. Subscribe to us on iTunes and donate to the show at patreon.com/Radio Free Skaro. Thank you.